Okay, so you should be on page 39, and we are going to be highlighting, graphing linear inequalities. Okay, so we're going to be graphing inequalities in two variables today. Okay, so on a coordinate plane. So again, like just graphing a regular line, we always isolate the y, but this time because it's inequalities like less than, greater than, or equal to, less than or greater than, we have to be a little careful on our line, whether it's going to be a solid line, which includes the points, or a dashed line, which does not include the points as solution. Okay, so there's going to be a little process here, so we're just going to kind of follow it together, and we're going to skip around as we go. If you want to pause the video, that's fine, just to make sure that you are giving yourself enough time to be able to follow the process and be able to do this on your own. So we're going to start with number 2. So again, we're going to isolate the y, so let's just subtract our 2x on both sides. So we've got negative 3y greater than or equal to negative 2x plus 6. Divide everybody by negative 3. Now, with inequalities, let's remember, when you multiply or divide both sides by a negative, you switch the direction of the inequality. So you got to be very, very careful with that. So that's going to be y. Instead of greater than or equal to, I'm going to change it to less than or equal to 2/3 x minus 2. So I'm going to put on the side a couple things. I'm going to put my slope, which is 2/3, which will be up to, right, 3. My y-intercept, which is negative 2. But I'm also going to write down, based on the inequality, because it says less than or equal to, we're including the line as our solution set. So I am going to put down the word solid to make sure I don't mess up that versus solid versus dashed line. Okay, so I'm going to graph this line real quick. I'm going to start at negative 2. You can do this on your own. Go up to, right 3, up to, right 3. And then I could go up to right 3 one more time if I want to. Now I know it's a solid line, so make sure you go right through those points. And that's your line y equals 2/3 x minus 2. But now with an inequality and graphing these, one thing we cannot forget is that the solutions are on the line, but the solutions are also going to either be above the line or below the line. So this is where we bring in some shading. Okay, so what I do is I test a point to see if it's a solution. The best point to test, if it's not on the line, is the point 0, 0, the origin. So I'm just going to put 0, 0 down as my checkpoint. I'm going to write the original equation. You could put the new one, but I always go back to the original to check that, and it will work the same way. So I'm going to put down my original inequality, substitute in my zeros. So I am checking right now, is the point 0, 0 a solution? So I get 0 is greater than or equal to 6. And I ask myself, is 0 greater than 6? And I say, no, that is false. So that means 0, 0, which is right here above the line, is not a solution. So I'm going to shade with a little bit kind of perpendicular shading away from it, the other side. Okay, so all my solutions are going to be on the line and in this shaded area. So I'm going to kind of notify that by putting and labeling the original inequality right in the shaded area. And that would give me full credit. So I just got to be careful with shading, but you're following that same process. Let's turn to page 40. So on page 40, let's go down to number 6, where they give us the inequality already. I'm going to assume these are dashed lines, so everybody kind of make clear dashed lines there. So that's dashed. We'll put some arrows on there. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the equation of that line. So I'm just going to think of y equals mx plus b first. So I'm going to look at that and say to myself, okay, what is my slope? What is my y-intercept? And that's going to kind of help me figure out the actual equation of that line. So it looks like my slope, by picking 2 points, it looks like up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1. So my slope is 2. My y-intercept, where it's across the y-axis, it looks like it's at positive 2 as well. So then I say to myself, okay, is this above the line or below the line? It's above it. So when I think of above, I actually think of greater than. So it's dashed. So I'm just going to do y is greater than 2x plus 2. And I just came up with my inequality. You could even test points. Like you could test the point 0, 0. If 0, 0 does not work, then you know you shaded the correct side. If 0, 0 did work, then you'd have to shade the other side, kind of going from there. Let's now turn to the next page. Just skipping around a little bit. So let's try another one, number 10. This would be a good one. Practice it on your own, and then you can kind of check to see if you get the same thing as me. So I'm going to subtract the 2x. And I'm going to get y is less than negative 2x minus 2. I always write down my m, my slope. With my arrows, I put down my y-intercept. Okay, so I notice right away it's just less than, so I'm going to write down the word dashed so I don't forget to dash that line, because that could be a little bit of a costly mistake. So I'm going to go to negative 2, and then I'm going to go down to right 1, get some points, and grab my straight edge, and I am going to make sure that when I do this, I make it a dashed line. So I just lift my pencil up as I go, and you've got your dashed line. Okay, now we got to check a point to figure out which side we're going to shade. Again, 0, 0 is a great one. It's not on the line, so I can use it. If it was on the line, I'd have to pick a different point. So I'm going to try 0, 0. Start with my original inequality. So I got 2 times 0 plus 0 less than negative 2. So 0 is less than negative 2. Is 0 less than negative 2? No, it is not. That's false. So I'm going to shade the other side of it where 0, 0 wasn't. And then I'm going to label it with the inequality right in that shaded area. Okay, let's just do one more problem, and then you guys can get started on your homework. So just a y one. There's no x, so I know right away I'm thinking Hoy. Hoy is a horizontal line, so I'm going to go to negative 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 6. And right there, I realize it's going to be a dashed horizontal line, so I'm going to make sure I dash it right there. I'm just going to be careful. You can use a straight edge with that. And now this one isn't bad. It says y is less than 6. Would it be above it or below it? If it was less than, it would be below. So you're just going to kind of shade away from it. And you can even write y is less than negative 6 right in that area there. Okay? So that's just kind of a little feel for graphing inequalities. So now you can get started on your homework.